Hi, dear language learners. Today I've got a great three-step easy technique for you from social psychology. It's called Fluency Validation that you can use at any level, and it will just so much boost your learning success because it will help you achieve fluency at really, even from the very first day, from the basic beginners level. And it is so important, it will get you out of that pain of studying endless vocabulary lists and not having any success event, if you know what I mean. If you study, you revise, you study again, and then once you actually then get into a situation of talking spontaneously to a person who already is fluent in the new language you're learning, you just freeze. So to get you out of that pain, use that technique. You can implement it today in your study routine. It works every time. And this is based on my last 40 years. I'm not overdoing this. It's 40 years. It has been 40 years of language study, starting at the age of 10 when I had English as my first foreign language at school. This is based on 40 years of language study and it really works. And I'm so passionate about sharing this because I realized there is so much in the way in which you study that can actually accelerate your success in a new language. And for those of you who are new here, welcome. This is the channel that shares with you all the basic fundamental laws of social psychology. So I'm a social psychologist, and those fundamental laws you can apply actually to the way in which you learn to become a fluent speaker, to speak with unshakable confidence, and also to get you out of that study blockers that actually we all experience when we learn a new language, where you just feel blocked and you can't get out a sentence. And for those of you who haven't yet, please remember to download your online guide. It's called Everyday Nano, the 7 Steps to Fluency. And this is your guide that helps you to move around things in your study routine, to establish that perfect study routine for you that actually will help you to reach fluency so much faster. And it is now available in French as well. If you prefer to read that guide in French, you can download it in French or in English on my website. But now let's start. So there's 3 steps to fluency validation. Number 1, and as I said at the beginning, it's for any level. So number 1 is the passive intake. Passive intake, of course, is in a book or on a social media post or on a YouTube video or wherever you read the new language, you take in the new sentence you're studying. So something, of course, that is useful for everyday life, something that you want to study. I mean, don't choose a subject that doesn't help you for your everyday life. You need to, of course, choose a sentence that you would really also use in your everyday life. So you can follow me as well on my YouTube shorts on this channel. You can see what I'm doing for activating now Italian as my 5th language. I'm actually every week I'm actually studying one sentence in Italian, and this sentence is chosen from my real life, something that I would say in one of my languages in everyday life. I actually say, okay, how would I say that in Italian? And I write it down. And of course, I invite you to join me. For those of you who are studying also Italian, I invite you to join me. That's why I share them on this channel. So that was step 1, the passive intake of the new sentence. And if you have watched my video on always in context, this is the reason why I study sentences and not lists of words, because putting them together to meaningful phrases is so important. If you just study words, you will freeze even more in real life because you don't know how they fit together. It's like playing an instrument or learning how to sing. You can't just study separate tones or separate pieces of music, if you know what I mean. Okay, so that was step 1, passive intake. Step 2 is relating it to your life. So the active personalization. What do I mean? The active personalization means you need to ask yourself, okay, I've just taken in that sentence. Now, that maybe doesn't sound like you would actually say it. You need to put your own vibe of how you speak, your character. So I always ask myself, okay, what would I do in a real situation saying that? Um, how would I actually express that? So let's take an example. I go to a bakery and I want to tell the person that who just served me that have a nice day. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. If I want to practice that, I of course need to think, so what would I really say? So it doesn't help me if I then practice a very theoretical sounding sentence that doesn't fit my personality. I have to kind of adapt that sentence to my own vibe. For very basic structures like hello, how are you? Of course, there's no big difference. But for more complex structures, if you study very theoretic sentences, you will feel, it doesn't fit me really. You know what I mean? You need to adapt them to your own life. So that's the step number two. Sorry. And step number three, and this is the important one. This is really what then brings the fluency validation to life and what will make you feel so much more motivated is the nano repetition. So those of you who have already downloaded the copy of Everyday Nano, you will know this. Nano repetition means very small chunks of content, but repeated many times. That's the secret. So, for example, if I'm at an A1 beginner's level and I've just studied how to greet a person, how to thank a person, and how to say have a nice day. Just that. I will then go on and repeat that for a whole week. Like in a repetition, if you study how to sing, or if you study for a theater play, you're an actor, or if you activate playing an instrument, it's the same. You need to repeat it until it sticks. So, for example, if let's talk about A1 or A2 level, in French, for those of you who are learning French, that would be Salut, comment tu vas? Est-ce que tu vas bien? Ah oui, moi je vais bien aussi. Merci beaucoup, bonne journée. So that formula, if you know what I mean, and that happens at any level, there's always these kind of formulas. If you have watched my video on the recognizing meaningful patterns, that's exactly what we want to train and repeat. You need to kind of choose a meaningful pattern that you would also use in your real life, in your maternal language, and then nano repeat that until it sticks. And the best way to nano repeat would be to actually repeat it with a native speaker or in a real situation. If you haven't got that opportunity, of course, what you can do, you can go on one of these fantastic online platforms and study with a learning buddy that you find online, or drop me a comment how you do that. I mean, the online world is so great for that now. I mean, if I think back when I started out with languages, we didn't have all these possibilities back in well, it doesn't matter when. I will not go on about the age. It's just such a great opportunity now to have the internet because you can find study buddies to do that fluency validation so easily now. So nano repetition is something you need to do at any level. And also, let me tell you what really works for me. And please drop me a comment to let us know how that resonates for your own learning. For me, it only works to move on with another more complex sentence only if I master the basic structure. So for me, I realized from my learning style, it doesn't help me if I then practice an even more complex sentence. If I can't even say, hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Tu día se ha pasado bien. If I can't say that sentence easily and without thinking too much, it doesn't help me if I move on, if you know what I mean. So this fluency validation really kind of needs to take you from one step to the next. And also what I learned, and this is really my own realization after 40 years, is I need to force myself to go into these nano steps because it seems at the beginning, it seems, oh, it's only that. But the more you force yourself to go into small nano steps, the more you will see it stays fun and motivating to move on. Because these small steps you can do even when you're tired, even when you don't feel like it. You can do them anytime. Whereas if you kind of approach language study from the philosophy of, oh, I need to study 20 I don't know, 20 pieces of vocabulary today, and I only have 1 hour, you already feel the pressure. It's kind of like it's an obligation and it's something that you need to do. And it doesn't feel fun. It doesn't feel something that kind of nicely blends into your day, if you know what I mean. So, as always, I'm looking forward to your comments and thanks for watching and join me in the next video.